Hello, so we've got a new arrival in the speed shop today. It's the Euro 5 Royal Enfield Himalayan. It's a bike that I've added to the fleet of A2 adventure bikes that you can come down here in North Devon and ride back to back. So I've got the CRF 250 Rally, GS 310, a Himalayan, a Euro 4 Himalayan, a 390 KTM adventure. I also have a second Himalayan, which is another Euro 4 bike, standard apart from a few bolt-on accessories. And being partial to a Himalayan, I've just added a third Himalayan to the fleet, and it is this pine green Euro 5 bike. I'm just going to do a quick video on the things I've spotted that are different and stand out from the Euro 4 bike. I think fundamentally there's not a great deal of changes. I think anybody thinking it's going to feel like a different bike or perform like a different bike are going to be disappointed. I think it's just an update. It feels like a pretty decent update, to be fair, just looking at it. And so let's start at the back, to be honest. One of the big improvements is this new rear rack. The previous one was prone to snapping. This one has got a Hitchcock's sturdier rear rack on, but the standard rear rack was very prone to snapping, and I think it only had a carry weight of about 3 kilos, so it was never very good. And so for the Euro 5 bike, they have put on a new rear rack, which according to that sign there says it'll carry 7 kilos of weight. You know, I've always found the Himalayan a very practical bike. I've never been one to have a top box, so the rear rack's weakness was never an issue for me. But I think for a lot of people, that is a big improvement. Seat tyres, I know the last of the Euro 4 bikes have got the Seat tyres on. You know, to me, they look as perfectly good a tyre as the MT60s that were on it. I've just ridden around Scotland while Land's End to Johnny Groats with a chap on a Euro 4 bike that had got the Seat tyres on. We had torrential rain, we had a mixture of road surfaces, and the tyres performed just as well as any other tyre. I do think the Himalayan is a bike that's not as sensitive to tyre choice as other bikes, and by that I mean that you can have a bad set of tyres on it, but just the way the bike delivers its power, the way it handles, the way its suspension works means that you still get good traction, you still get good grip, you still get good drive. And so anybody worried about the Seat tyre rather than the Pirelli tyre, I don't think you need to worry. Just going forward, obviously the new side panels look a bit slimmer than they did before. They don't have that same bulge, so hopefully that'll mean you don't get quite as much flare in the calf as you do on the original bikes that we got. One thing to spot is a deletion of the charcoal canister in the sump guard, that you could no longer see that in there. So on the previous bike, you can't really see it, but in there was a box and loads of wires that plumbed up here, and that was to take the excess unburnt fuel that came out the exhaust or out the engine, and that would harness that unburnt fuel in order to meet Euro 4 emissions. What they've done with it now, how they've managed to get around it, I don't know, but there's a lot of new stuff going on in here, so that all looks a little bit different. So I think they've completely, according to Jack at Cooper Motorcycles, they've removed the charcoal canister completely. The charcoal canister is something you'll find on a lot of bikes, or all Euro 4 bikes. Whether Euro 5 bikes have managed, you know, to get around the need for a charcoal canister, I'm not entirely sure. But it certainly cleans up that area under there, because it was very messy when you removed the sump guard. There was lots. It was a horrible canister, and all the hoses that got covered in dirt and things. So that's a nice touch. Not sure about the new downpipe. I believe that the moving of the cat from there to here is to pass Euro 5, and I wonder if it's because it burns more efficiently the closer it is to the output, and so the cap being moved there is to reduce emissions. That can be my only thinking on that. I can't see. It's certainly not done for aesthetics. It's almost like when a snake swallows a mouse or something too large for it, or a can of beans, and so it's sort of this swollen section, which does look a bit ungainly, but you know, if it makes the bike more efficient and passes the emissions, it's no big deal. One of the big changes is the frame shape. I think it's a slightly wider diameter tube, and now it's pinched at the bottom. I think they've simplified the design of it, and they've also changed this. So this is just a plastic out of there. You can just see, so you've no longer got that ridging like you've got on this one. So that's just more square. And then behind that, you've got these mounting points where people mounted the fuel bottles. So whether you'll still be able to mount the fuel bottles onto the front guards on here, I'm not as sure, because there doesn't look to be any mounting points. I think maybe Royal Enfield never really appreciated just how practical that the original engine guards were on the bike. I used to put my dry bag on there, and as I say, people put their fuel cells on there. And I do wonder if maybe for this generation, or this Euro 5 bike, they've tweaked it to mean that you don't bang your knee, because that was one of the problems with the original frame. Taller riders with longer legs caught the knee on this and made it uncomfortable. So they've obviously pinched that in, but I'm not sure that is now as practical as it once was. I'm sure you can still get a dry bag on it, but whether it's as secure, time will tell. I also think it's a shame that they've gone to this sort of subtle embossed nameplate, because the original, I thought, really set it off, and it really was quite distinctive. And I know when I've been out trail riding and things like that, and you'll be on a trail and you'll pull up alongside a walker, an old walker who's giving you a bit of a dirty look, and then they'll see this sort of shiny, shimmering Royal Enfield badge, and a lot of them have got memories of boyfriends or husbands that had Royal Enfields, and that sort of makes their eyes light up and they soften their sort of temper with you. And I think that was amplified by that just really nice silver lettering. It give it more classy feel, I think. And I think by switching to this really subtle, cheap looking black one, I think it's kind of lost a little bit of grandeur, I suppose. Whether that's important or not, I don't know. But it's just something I've spotted. What else have we got? What else we got? So that's the engine. New screen. A little bit more bulbous. You can see it from the one behind. A little bit more pinch there. Whether it works aerodynamically, not sure. We'll soon find out. I guess most importantly, people are curious about the instrument cluster. So you've now got the tripper on the right-hand side, which you connect with Google, built with Google. So you put in I believe you download the app, the Royal Enfield app. You put in your route, you send it to this, you pair it with this through Bluetooth, and then it gives you indicators, turn right in 200 meters, etc. So it's a simple navigational device. Whether it's as effective as just having a cradle with your phone on your handlebars, not too sure. Whether it's more gadget gizmo than actual practicality. They've cleaned up the lights. I quite like the new styling, just modernised it a little bit. I did notice the air temperature seems again optimistic. When I rode it briefly this morning, it again seemed to read higher than the ambient temperature outside. Whether they've relocated the sensor, I'm not too sure, but again, yeah, it looked a bit high. There's no longer this fast idle lever that they used to have. That was never ever really used anyway. I think it was more when it was carburetted rather than fuel injected, so they have deleted that. Most importantly, what people are keen on is the ABS switch, which is there. You hold that down 2 seconds, I think, or so, and that will disengage ABS. Only on the rear, not on the front. What I liked about it this morning when I just tried it, when you turn the engine off with the kill switch, the ABS, if you've turned it off, stays off. It's only when you kill it with the switch and then back with the key off and then back on, does it initiate the ABS, which is quite nice, because when you're trail riding, maybe you'll stall it, maybe you'll just kill it just while you're talking to somebody. When you turn it back on, you don't want the faff of having to press the button again. The worst one is the KTM 390, which you turn the traction control off, you turn the ABS off, you stall it or hit the kill switch, you have to do it all again. And on that, you have to go through a menu system, you have to hold a button down for 5 seconds, then shut off the throttle. It's such a faff. When it shouldn't, something like that shouldn't interrupt your riding. So Himalayan, Royal Enfield seem to have got it quite right with that one. Other than that, I'm trying to think, is there anything else that really stands out? No, really, it's cosmetic, it's tweaks, not tweaks like this. That's now oval, whether that's any issue. The side reflector. Now got light. This is a pine green. I think the colour will be a bit Marmite. You'll either like it or not. The seat's been resculpted. I noticed that it's got more of an angle running along the sides. If you notice that, so look at that, flat across the top, and on the rear, domed. Whether that's going to make it more comfortable or not, time will tell. But I think all in all, I think it's a nice update. I don't think it's an essential update. I don't think anybody coming from a Euro 4 to a Euro 5 is going to make much difference out of it. What I did notice this morning, just riding it the 1 mile from home to here, was it does seem more refined, cleaner, crisper at the bottom end when there was a stalling issue on the Euro 4 bike. So I've got a feeling that combined with the Euro 5 regulations and the removal of the charcoal canister, they might at last have cured the stalling issue that plagued many a bike. And if they've cured that, that will be a really good thing. And to me, just riding it this morning, it felt cleaner, it felt crisper, it felt more resolved, more refined. So that leads me to believe that maybe they've cured it. One thing I also hope they've cured is the head bearings that fail. They get water ingress there in that seam and then corrode the bearings. It doesn't look any different, the design, but maybe they have put more of a weather flap on there or some better bearings in there. Because if they've cured that and the stalling issue, I think we're on to a winner. I really do. So that's it. Euro 5 Himalayan. I'll do a video of it out and about. I'm out on it tomorrow with a group, so it'll get running a little bit tomorrow, and then I'll do some trail riding on it, just to let you know how it goes compared to the Euro 4 one. But really, you know, I guess the biggest difference is price. When I bought the first one, it was 4,000 or 3,999 plus on the road £200, so 4,200. Now this is 4,700 on the road, so it's gone up £500 in 3 years. You know, it is an increase, which is never a good thing, but I always felt at £4,000, it was probably underpriced when it first came out. I think it was a sign of a company not confident in the bike it was going to offer to the Western market, and therefore pitched it cheap in the hope it would gain some traction. 3 years later, it's been a great sales success. There's a lot of love for the bike, and I think it now does justify that extra price increase. You know, 4,700, it's still good value when you consider that a CRF 250 Rally now, the 300, is 6,100. BMW 310 GS is now 5,700, which seems a lot of money for what that is. And then the KTM 390 Adventure, that's also gone up in money to, I think, 5,700 as well. So all in all, the Himalayan is still £1,000 less than its competitive bikes. And, you know, as I've always found, and riding all these bikes back to back as often as I do, it's still the one that you jump on and think, you know, this bike could do anything. It could take me anywhere. It feels like it would survive an adventure and be ready for the next one. And so even at 4,700, it's got 3 years breakdown warranty, 3 years breakdown cover, 3 years warranty. And I think for a brand new bike for 4,700, can't go wrong with that. So I look forward to getting it running. And if you want to come down and ride it back to back, head to the website, www.dorothyspeedshop.com. I've got days in the calendar, but equally I can cater for one-on-ones or two-on-ones, or, you know, if you've got a group of 4 or 5 who want to come down, then just give us a shout, because the bikes are here to be ridden. You know, I think it's really important to ride a bike before you buy a bike, especially in a market like this, which is, you know, all the bikes are similar, but they're also very different. They've all got very different characteristics and strengths and weaknesses. So if you can put some miles on bikes back to back in the same environment, in the same conditions, it really allows you to focus and pick out what works best for you. So that's it. Over and out. Cheers. Bye.